Good morning, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your plan. Keep battling on day by day. And I appreciate all the great comments, likes, subscriptions, donations. You guys are wonderful. We're getting close to 500. I think we're at 496. So thank you guys again for all that. And I'm just happy that we're able to get the message out and people are getting something out of all this, and that's the main thing for me. So once again, great comments. I got a few to catch up with. I did Kenny D yesterday a little bit, and I wanted to do one on Marc today. Marc sent me a nice comment question, a really interesting type of thing, and we'll kind of go over that as we go through this one. So in his text and message, not text, but message to me, he indicated that he had an interesting situation where he had, gone to the gas station, I think, to get some gas, and all of a sudden this young lady was kind of giving him a lot of seductive types of, signs and different things that would indicate that she wanted him to pay attention to her. And that's kind of a lot of what we're talking about here. And when you're talking about energy, I mean, it goes back to you making a choice. Now, I believe Marc in this case it sounds like he did not really respond to this very well. And obviously she probably got a little bit upset about the whole situation because she really wanted the attention part of it. And then I guess as they were leaving, or she was leaving, she kind of gave this creepy smile to him. And I've seen this, many times before, and I think you've all seen this kind of smile and things like that. So let's kind of talk about that a little bit, and we can kind of talk about the idea that we're talking about a creepy smile of the evil one. Maybe that'll be the title. Sometimes I don't think of the titles until after I actually do the recording. So we'll probably call this one a creepy smile of the evil one on Semen Retention. So, all right. So anyway. Marc makes a really great point, very salient, very important to what we're talking about. Let's kind of focus on this one a little bit, because as we look at things, we have to realize that this is kind of like a game in some ways. And you may have never looked at it this way, but it really is kind of like your energy is the valuable source. It's almost like you're a rich country within yourself, and people are trying to get that energy from you. And this is why it's important to kind of realize how strong you are and how much energy you do have. You have a superpower that's just enormous. Now, in our society, especially over the last number of years, we've been taught that we have to kind of give up our energy to be healthier, right? And in fact, in my opinion, over the last 804 days, I can tell you that it's the opposite. That it really is not strength, but it's your weakness. And you're becoming weaker and weaker as time goes on because of all the energy you're losing. And I think this is a key type of thing to look at when you're looking at energy and how it affects you. So given that fact, it is important for you to keep that energy. Now, you're going to be tested all the time. And we go back to this creepy smile thing. So this woman obviously was trying to get Marc hooked into her. And who knows, maybe get together later on or do something where all of a sudden now he's losing a lot more than emotional energy, he's losing physical energy. And those type of things happen all the time. Guys, in my opinion, really, and this is what I was told a long time ago, which makes sense, is that a lot of times guys are pretty clueless when it comes to this. And a lot of women are the ones picking the mates and picking all these type of things, the energy they want. And so they may not tell you directly and come up to you and say, okay, I want you, but they do it in a way where it's nonverbal. And those type of things come out, and you can tell those things. So one of the things that comes out here is the fact that she obviously was not happy that he wasn't paying attention to her. And so as a result of that, he gave her a crazy looking smile, which kind of indicated what her attention really was. And her intention was obviously to kind of, in many ways, suck the energy that you had. And I think this is why it becomes really intense. And you'll see as time goes on, and I'm older, so it happens to me, but it doesn't happen to me as frequently as some of you younger guys. You're gonna see women do a lot of crazy things because the energy comes out so much that they can't handle it because they're not used to a man being a man and holding his energy and not just kind of letting it go. Now, the creepy smile comes from the fact that she knows she was caught, and Marc, you caught her, and so she kind of gave that wry smile saying, okay, well, you got me this time. Now, she's not going to say that in so many words, but that's kind of what came out. And you'll see people get upset. Women will be really upset if you reject them. This is kind of their form of rejection. You're not really responding back to the energy. Now, they will do anything they can to do this because what they really want, and it's a subconscious thing, it's not a conscious thing, is your energy. Because this is what that makes, you can tell this, anytime you have any kind of intercourse, you could tell this. Because what ends up happening is that you end up falling asleep. Most people, most men, and the women are energized. They get stay up all night because what happened was you transfer energy from you to her. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong, and certainly when it comes to procreation or your wife or some other type of situation where you have a significant person that you're spending a lot of your whole life with, the rest of your life with, well, that's a whole different type of thing in some ways. Because you got a purpose for doing it. You're trying to bring a child into this world. That's a different type of thing. But just to shoot out that energy and just let it go without any sort of reason or purpose except for a short-term pleasure is really destroying you. And especially if you're giving it to other people, it's making them stronger and it's making you weaker. Now, a lot of times we don't see this because people are so much into this pleasure that they're basically responding back with saying, okay, well, this is healthy for me to do this. Well, I don't believe that's really the case. I mean, I see no reason why I don't think it's a problem necessarily if you have a sexual drive and energy, but I think in releasing 5-6 times a day is just not very healthy for you at all. And I think that's the key to a lot of it. It ends up mushing your brain to the point where now you're not thinking clearly, and all you're doing is thinking about sex and all those type of things, that way. And that's why it's important. So you got a response, Marc, that's a very unique response, because what ends up happening is people tend to respond to you because you figured out what they were doing. And this is why you got that wry, creepy smile, because the person understands that you kind of figured out what they were trying to do and you didn't respond to it. And you got that acknowledgement in some ways. Now, it seems like a creepy thing. The reason it seems like a creepy thing is because women tend not to respond like that. But, once again, remember, I think this is really fascinating information myself. If you look at what the Bible tells us that everything is, you're not dealing with flesh. You're not dealing with flesh. You're dealing with principalities, and you're dealing with spirits, all those type of things. And what ends up happening is that you're not dealing with that person. You're dealing with, it's not a skin and bones thing. You're dealing with a spirit. And that spirit is basically coming to you, basically saying, you have energy, and I want that energy. And so you have to respond back to it. And if you have that self-control, you're able to then dictate more of the situations and choose to hold your energy. So almost like gold, guys, you want to keep that as long as you can. Now, this is the totally opposite of what people tell you in society, but from what I've learned in brahmacharya, sophism, celibacy, a lot of these things over the years, you have to keep and transmute and use your energy to accomplish great goals and things that you have. And you can't be just sitting around kind of going from one person to another. I always remember that Dracula movie with the scene with Bela Lugosi, and I know I'm kind of dating myself here, but the scene with Bela Lugosi and Van Helsing. and Bella goes, "Come here," and so he's trying to kind of, by sheer will alone, bring Van Helsing to him so he can kind of bite his neck and all that kind of stuff. But Van Helsing is strong, and Van Helsing backs away, and so now he knows, Dracula knows, that this is someone who could destroy him. And this is what happens when you see this. So the wry smile you got is kind of a demon smile, because you got that vampire demon smile who knows that your will is strong, Mark, and your will is strong, and you're not going to just fall for anything that comes along. Okay, so you have to kind of be careful, and these are interesting tests. So you have to kind of flee. This is why the Bible says, flee, 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 my friends. Flee away from temptation. Flee away from that temptation, because what's going to happen is that it's going to ensnarl you, and all of a sudden you're going to be sitting there, like I said, with the birds. You're going to be nesting in your own head, and all of a sudden you're going to have temptation. So, Mark, this is a very great comment. Thank you for sharing, and great job of handling the temptation. I think that we see a lot of it. I mean, I tell you, yesterday I was just all of a sudden got hugged, and it's just a kind of a crazy response that, you're just out of the ordinary. And this is what you're going to see more and more. The more and more that you're able to control your nature and your energy, the more interesting types of responses you're going to see. I can see that with people around me all the time. Relationships are better. There's not as much of the anger and I guess, I don't know, some sort of thing where people know that you're weak. They know that you're losing energy. Especially women don't have the level of respect for you. And I just think that they sense this. And now all of a sudden they sense that you're a real man, and that you're holding your seat in, and that you're able to control yourself. Now you're going to get some kind of bizarro type behaviors. And that's what Mark, you experienced. I mean, you experienced the devil who knew inside that person, who knew that you weren't going to kind of be tempted. And so they gave you that smile saying, yeah, you got me this time. I'll come back for you again. And that's kind of what that smile was. So beware, Mark. If you find this person again, they're probably going to come back. They're probably going to come after you some more. So, all right, guys. Well, enough for today. It was good. Thanks again, Mark. Shout out to you, my friend, for that interesting relating type story you gave us. And it happens to all of us, my friend. And I think that you got to be careful of those intense feelings, because you'll see, especially with women, you'll see some strange things, because they sense that you have that gold that they're looking for. And though we look at society saying, okay, well, the women are the table and all that kind of stuff, you have what they want. You have that energy. And if you realize that, and you're able to hold it and not just let it go, you become very, very attractive. Now, what you do with that attractiveness is the second component. And that really is the case in which you have to kind of be fearless in your discipline. And you have to continue to kind of ignore it. It's kind of like I said, the oxymoron that we had years ago, where you're talking about, well, if I wanted all this attraction, but now that I have all the attraction, I don't want it. And it's kind of like that's the key. It's almost like you don't want all these crazy, demon women running around chasing you. And I mean that in the most positive way. You don't want them chasing you around. You don't want them going ahead and looking for your energy. You want to have one person who you have a relationship with, and you can choose at that point with that person and have something with that person. Because the more you have all these people floating around, the more you're going to get distracted. And in my opinion, that's not a good thing. So, all right, my friends, God bless you guys. Have a great day and have a great weekend. I'll try to do this one weekend if I can. If not, I'll talk to you guys Monday morning. God bless you guys. Battle on.